Yeah, let's start in Pittsburgh. Nobody's happy. Mike Tomlin's not happy. The fans are just beside themselves. My wife is in permanent pissed off mode, being a Steeler fan. Ben Roethlisberger and James Harrison have these big podcasts they do in Western Pennsylvania. They both, at the same time this week, said that the Steelers should work a buyout of the contract of Mike Tomlin, make a change. It's time to make a change. Tomlin's never had a losing record, but they haven't won a playoff game in 8 years. In fact, Roethlisberger said Tomlin ought to be a candidate to go to Penn State because they're still looking for a coach. Tomlin said, listen, there's not enough money anywhere in the country to make me leave here. I have the best job in football. Yeah, I'm upset just like the fans, and I respect the fans. I'm upset. But that being said, they just can't fix the franchise. It's just their offense isn't very good. So that's interesting. Roethlisberger and James Harrison on their individual podcast have both sounded off that we need something to take us in a different direction. Raider Nation, Pete Carroll, he's not quitting. Pete Carroll says the NFL is about challenges, and this is a challenge. You think? The Raiders are 2-10 on the season. They've got just massive problems, and they don't have massive personnel to fix the massive problems. They might not win a game the rest of the season. They might be 2-15. By the way, former Raider coach Antonio Pierce, he stands up. He's got a podcast, and he says, it's taken a decade to fix this bad boy, and they still haven't fixed it. This one-and-done coaching scenario just doesn't work. They keep cycling through guys. He said what I think fans ought to be saying. We need a new owner. It's all on Mark Davis. When your record is 130 and 238 since 2002, and Mark Davis is the only constant in all that, don't you think you need an owner? I think Raider fans should stand up and bring signs, say, sell the team, because Mark Davis has no track record of success at all. And now Antonio Pierce, his former coach, he got booted out, said this is all on ownership. Kansas City, Andy Reid, he's peeved at the media. He is really defiant. He told the media on Monday, looked into the cameras of all the TV stations, and we will fix this. Andy, how are you going to fix it? You can't fix an offensive line that has been a negative. And now they've lost Josh Simmons for the year with a dislocated wrist. They lost Jawan Taylor, the right tackle. He's out with a hip injury. They lost their right guard. Trey Smith's got I think it's a tricep or a bicep injury. They got 3 of their 5 starting offensive linemen out. You can't play that many backups in your offensive line and think you can survive. Call the Chargers about how that's worked out. Andy Reid just totally defiant. And he's totally ignoring his secondary. Last week his secondary took 6 pass interference penalties and a defensive hold penalty, his corners and safeties. And the secondary's been shaky all year long. And they can't run the bloody football. There's no power running game. That's why Patrick Mahomes has 3,500 all-purpose yards. He has to do everything himself. Andy Reid is just, he kind of came out of character. He just lost it in his Monday press conference. He's really defiant. And then there's Cleveland. Explain this one to me. They activate Deshaun Watson after all the season on the injured reserve list and all the years on injured reserve list. And he was taking snaps with the number 1 unit today. Now, if that's not a vote of no confidence to Shadur Sanders, I don't know what is. If that's not a distraction Cleveland doesn't need, I don't know what is. They think they're going to win a bunch of games with a guy that hasn't played in hardly a year and a half. He's 9-10 as a starter since they signed him in 2022. He's missed so many games, first with the suspension and then with all the different injuries. And you activate him at the end of a no-win season? Makes no sense to me at all. I mean, that looks really bad as to what Stefanski's opinion of Shadur Sanders must be, that you're activating a guy that's been injured and has got all this junk off the field. Ew, that's really weird. Anyhow, those are the big stories around the NFL notebook. And John, what do you got to say?
What do I got to say? Well, first of all, I can't blame the Browns for at least seeing what Deshaun Watson's got. Put him out there with the first team. Let's see if he's got anything left in the tank. I mean, he hasn't played in how long? A couple of years, right? So, but they said they were going to commit to Shedeur for the balance of the season. So I don't know. It's probably just an audition in practice. The Steelers story is interesting because they've had that track record for so long with Chuck Noll and
Cowher.
Bill Cowher, and then Tomlin's been there forever. I mean, it's been like 3 coaches for like 50 or 60 years. You'd hate to see that whole thing get disruptive, turn the Steelers into like the Raiders, the way the Raiders go through coaches. I mean, that'd be a bummer. But is Tomlin really the problem, or is he just the scapegoat for this whole thing?
I think there's an organizational problem as to what you should be doing in modern day football offensively, and why aren't you getting these guys in the draft or spending free agency? To me, and if we got Steeler fans out there that want to jump into this, get in the fans forum chat box, they have a pedestrian offense. They run the ball, they throw it to the tight ends. They have anybody deep down the field? No. And some of the guys they've had that used to be deep down the field were crackpots that they got rid of. So it's just, I think Pittsburgh's just a mess. And some of this has got to be Tomlin's philosophy of we're going to play defense and run the football. Well, that's not what modern day football in the NFL is all about.
Okay. Yeah. It's at the old school thing going on.
Yeah.
That's like Schottenheimer, 3 yards in a cloud of dust.
Yeah, more or less. So football fans, NFL fans, feel free to jump on board.